and there is plenty of dry fuel still on the ground.
Why the northern lights have been putting on a show.
When those charged particles land in the North Pole or anywhere in those northern parts of the Earth here, we're talking about it exciting the gases in there. Works just like a neon light bulb.
We'll have the latest fall foliage update.
Also starting to expand across much of the lower 48. A little bit of foliage now outside of Denver, the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains.
And can your morning coffee predict the weather?
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. We are monitoring the tropics once again this week. The National Hurricane Center is now watching two areas of development. One has a pretty good chance of becoming a tropical depression later this week. Now, these systems come during an unexpected lull in the Atlantic hurricane season. Florida meteorologist Lauren Oleski is tracking the tropics this morning.
We'll take a look at the tropics, starting to now monitor two areas across the Atlantic basin. Increased development chances with this wave. This is an Invest 92L. We've been watching this for a few days now. 80 to 90% development chance through the next 2 to 7 days. We'll likely see this become a depression by the time the week is over. And then another wave coming off the coast of Africa with very small development chance right now, only 20% through the next week, but moving into an area somewhat favorable for some organization and development. We'll monitor that closely. Right now, there are no threats to Florida at this time, but Invest 92L looking a little better there on that satellite loop. We'll put the computer models on it. This is likely going to be staying out to sea, curving north in about a week from now or so, well east of us. I'm not concerned with this impacting us in any way. If it goes beyond a depression and gets named, the next name on our list is Gabrielle.
And 2 brush fires in 2 days in Washington state serve as a clear reminder of the ongoing risks that flames could spark and run out of control. A red flag warning is in place for many communities around the Seattle area, and the heat could crank up today. Joel Moreno looked into the fire dangers that remain for the western U.S.
Wow, look at it. It's moving so fast.
Flames whipped skyward as the destruction pushed its way uphill and toward a group of homes on South Myrtle Street in Seattle's Beacon Hill.
The first units, they're reporting that embers were almost the size of dollar bills.
The fire reached 4 homes, causing extensive damage to 2 of them and scarring the exteriors of the others. Fire crews told everyone to evacuate, though the smoke was so heavy, 2 people had to be rushed to the hospital.
We didn't really quite know what to do, but eventually okay, we got to go now.
Investigators returned to the location to survey the extent of the damage after determining the fire started on I-5 at the base of the hill. Winds then pushed it into 2 separate directions, requiring firefighters to battle on both fronts.
They ruled that the fire was accidental, likely caused by either sparking chains or metal material from a vehicle driving by, or improperly discarded smoke and materials.
Even though we're in mid-September, the warm weather remains and there is plenty of dry fuel still on the ground.
We need to be aware that brush fires are still prevalent in this area.
Brush fires put lives and property at risk, and the damage that results can be lasting.
Smoky, gross. The shed next to it with some of our empty boxes and tools and stuff was destroyed. Part of my car melted.
In a separate incident, flames sent up plumes of smoke along I-90 near 8th Avenue South in downtown Seattle. Firefighters knocked it down, but this once again shows how easily a brush fire can potentially race out of control.
Well, we're still at the tail end of summer, and we do have a few dry, warm days on the horizon. We need folks to be aware.
And check out these photos. They're coming from Sunday night when the Northern Lights put on quite a show. They had been visible the last couple of nights because of strong solar storms. To help you understand exactly how this happens, we're going to turn to Baltimore meteorologist Gerard Jabali.
The Earth is protected by most of these solar storms by its magnetic field. Works just like that invisible magnetic field on a regular magnet. You can't see it, but at the poles it's a little bit weaker. So what happens is when we get these stronger solar winds from a solar storm to come in, more of that energy of all kinds, because we are not just getting visible light and heat from the sun, we get it in all kinds of ways. We get it from ultraviolet light to X-rays to infrared, and you can't see all these things in sense it, but you know, some of that energy, especially in those solar storms, makes it in, especially by the poles where that magnetic field draws in those charged particles. So when those charged particles land in the North Pole or anywhere in those northern parts of the Earth here, we're talking about it exciting the gases in there. It works just like a neon light bulb. The electrons excite the gases inside of a neon light bulb, making them glow. Well, here, the charged particles hit those molecules, including oxygen, nitrogen, making for those stunning colors. And the colors are a direct result of what molecules they hit. For instance, they hit oxygen, they make the reds and the greens. They hit nitrogen, they make those blues and the purples that we see. They're just spectacular.
The official start of fall is just days away, and some areas are already seeing the leaves changing colors. Meteorologist Jordan Evans has the latest fall foliage update from explorefall.com.
The countdown to fall continues with 6 days to go until the autumnal equinox. That also means equal amounts of daylight and nighttime. It will be the first day of spring in the southern hemisphere. But for us, that means fall foliage also starting to expand across much of the lower 48. A little bit of foliage now outside of Denver, the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains around Salt Lake City, the Cascades, and around Glacier National Park in Montana, all seeing a little bit of fall foliage now showing up. The upper Midwest getting some too. Closer to the Mid-Atlantic, this is one of my favorite spots from last year. This was early October, Rocky Gap State Park in western Maryland. We'd love to see your photos across the nation as fall foliage begins to expand here at the National Weather Desk.
And coming up in about 7 minutes, we'll hear from the creator of Explore Fall on how they come up with their fall foliage predictions. Well, this past weekend marked 7 years since Hurricane Florence made landfall on the coast of North Carolina. It left devastating impacts that are still being felt today. Meteorologist Lana Foss looks back on the devastation and the strides made since.
7 years ago, citizens experienced a moment in history some will never forget. Hurricane Florence had a major impact on eastern North Carolina, making landfall in Wrightsville Beach. New Bern was one of the cities hit the hardest, and years later, we reflect on what had happened and how far the city has come since. While New Bern is on its feet now, 7 years ago held a much different story. Former Mayor Dana Outlaw says they were not as prepared as they wanted to be.
There was a lack of communication, a lack of resources because Highway 17, 70, and 40 were all flooded.
The community was able to come together and rebuild, planning ahead for the next big storm. A big step is to raise the elevation of homes and businesses. Storm surge is often the most impactful threat a hurricane can bring. Hurricane Florence measured over 10 feet. This pole, located by the New Bern History Center, gives a visual for the height of storm surge. The water level would be well over your head. So elevation is a big stressor for the city.
One area I stress out of office now is a elevated road into the inner city because we had a tremendous problem after it flooded.
Since Florence, the city of New Bern has been improving not only the roads with a resiliency plan, but the homes and local businesses that give New Bern its charm. Hurricane Florence may have been a devastating storm, but former Mayor Outlaw recalls one of the most positive memories of the community during that rough time.
If you could see the looks on some of the citizens, and they were devastated and flooded out, and we're over at Trent Park School, and just I got him to come over and have a Sunday service, and that was really moving for the citizens that, you know, in the worst of things that we can all join together.
New Bern is a city of strength and community, improving each day for whatever Mother Nature may throw its way.
And if you're planning to visit Southern California this month, you could see this unique, colorful view of the beach. Researchers from UCLA's School of Engineering are doing experiments that turn the water around the Santa Monica Pier pink. You can see it right there. They're using pink dye to study and better understand water movement and how it affects water quality in that area. The observational experiment poses no risk to people, vegetation, or wildlife. If you want to learn more about these pink waves, head over to our YouTube channel. We posted an interview meteorologist Emily Gracie did with one of the researchers working on this study. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, the official start of fall is just around the corner. We'll look at how fall foliage forecasts are developed, and we'll head to northern Michigan to check in on this year's apple crop.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We're tracking highs in the 70s and low 80s again for our Tuesday. It looks to be a nice and mild day. For most areas, we'll see a lot of sunshine. The exception down to southern New England, New Jersey, and New York. You will see some clouds associated with that storm to our south. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon today. Notice most of New England seeing a lot of sun. That's true in New York as well. Eventually, some of these showers from that storm south will get into southern New England, New York, and New Jersey tonight through Wednesday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jubali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We will be looking at low pressure moving overhead, bringing a lot of rainfall as we move into your Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. We'll be looking at the clouds also lingering around too. Breezy conditions and much cooler temperatures going through the next couple days before it finally pushes out. So under that system, we're going to be talking about highs stuck in the 60s or low 70s at best. And that'll be the case for your Wednesday as well. We'll be warming right back up again as we move into Thursday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins here with your Southeast forecast. Another hot one heading into Tuesday for most of the Southeast, with temperatures running in the low 90s across the Mississippi River Valley, upper 80s, low 90s for most of the Gulf Coast and across the state of Florida, upper 60s, upper 70s too for parts of the Carolinas due to lingering cloud cover and the chance for more showers and storms across that region heading into Tuesday. Isolated showers and storms for South Florida Tuesday. More scattered showers and storms will return heading into Wednesday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A rosy pink double rainbow near Eureka on Sunday, and a look at a Utah landscape as it starts the fall foliage change from green to reds, oranges, and yellows. A look at golden hour magic near the Providence, Rhode Island area. More snapshots of the northern lights Sunday night into Monday, and last night in the Providence area.
Listen to Off the Radar, winner of the National Headliner Award for Best Information Podcast.
Well, next week is the fall equinox, which means temperatures are getting cooler, days are getting shorter, and soon the leaves will start to change those colors. Emily Gracie sat down with the mastermind of an innovative fall foliage forecast tool to get a sneak peek at what to expect this year.
As we get into September, that's when it's really go time. We're watching every single day how the temperatures are playing out. And those temperatures are the biggest driver of all of this. But we would be remiss if we didn't also recognize the input of just daylight hours. As the days grow shorter, that's what truly kind of opens the door for the fall color change once the temperatures are sufficiently cold.
So is it mainly summer weather that's impacting it, or does it go back farther than that? Like, can last winter impact what we see this fall?
There can be some impacts even from last fall. Now, we don't incorporate that directly into our model because it is there's some literature on it, but it's a little uncertain exactly how that works out. But certainly going back into the spring, we have plenty of effects. So there's reason to believe that an early leaf out, so the leaves coming out early in the spring, can lead to an early fall. We've seen evidence of this in the higher latitudes, especially in New England, southeastern Canada.
What can we expect for this year?
I'm leaning towards an earlier fall this season, especially across the Intermountain West and as well in New England. We've got a lot of drought in both of those areas. Really dry summer in Colorado, and then also this dry late summer into early fall that's emerging in New England. So both of those factors like to accelerate fall colors. Precipitation impacts are so funny with fall foliage because a little bit of drought can delay the colors. A lot of drought will accelerate them. Any degree of drought will just generally make it chaotic. But across the board, we think those colors will be earlier. In the southeast, southern Appalachians, where we are based, it's shaping up to be a beautiful season. We did have Hurricane Helene here last fall, which was one of the greatest wind events this region has ever seen. And yet the trees look magnificent going into this season. We've had a very wet summer. Temperatures have not been extreme, and I'm greatly encouraged by what we're seeing around here.
To hear more about the 2025 fall foliage forecast, check out this week's episode of our podcast. You'll learn how Evan's archived database can also show you what fall colors of your childhood look like. Find Off the Radar anywhere you listen to your podcast. And speaking of changing leaves, what exactly causes them to go from green to brown to yellow, gold, red? Meteorologist Eric Kostreva explains.
Well, as the days continue to get shorter and the weather gets cooler, we are going to see the trees going from the vivid greens to the bright reds, oranges, and yellows, especially in the northern communities of the United States and, of course, the mountainous regions as well in the higher elevations. And that's going to be because as the days get shorter, cooler weather, as we mentioned, the chlorophyll, which gives us that green pigment, is going to start to break down. And that's going to allow for the different chemicals in certain trees, in specific trees. Each tree is going to be different. We're going to have the yellow, oranges, and reds popping up from xanthophyll, carotene, and anthocyanid, respectively. Now, to get some bright, vivid colors, you're going to want the likely drier days here as we wrap up the summer months and head into officially what will be fall. And the sunny days, cooler nights also going to really make those color pop, as well as what the weather was during the summer months and even back into spring, because if we had a severe drought, that could mute some of those colors. And if we get any hotter weather to come in when it should be cooler, that could lead to a delay in the colors as well.
And some farmers are excited about the apple crop in northern Michigan. Ethan Foreman reports.
So many people think of apple picking as an October thing, but really the best apple picking comes right at the mid to end of September. All of our best apples are coming in.
Jack King, one of the owners of King Orchard Farms in Antrim County, says this is a fabulous year for apples.
Here in just a few days, we're having Macintosh, Honeycrisp, Northern Spire coming shortly after a few more cold nights. A lot of really cool Michigan apples. We're growing about 20 different varieties of apples. A few are cider specific. Some are a little russeted, so they get rough skin and kind of look cool.
The cool weather the last few weeks in northern Michigan have been ideal for making great ripening of apples.
Middle to the end of September really is the best time for apples. They love the warm days we get in September, and the cool nights really lets the tree know it's fall, generates this beautiful color, generates a lot of sugar.
Despite the good summer conditions across the area, the spring made for some small impacts to some crops.
I think there's a really big crop of apples across Michigan, but there has been quite a bit of hail. In fact, I can find some hail marks on some of the apples behind me if we look real close.
King said that these apples last a really long time. In fact, this past season, they had apples last all the way through April.
It's crazy how long these apples last if you get them picked at peak ripeness and handle them properly.
It's fall harvest season, but in Iowa, a different crop is growing in backyards, and it could be problematic for homeowners. Faven Zodu learned it's a big year for acorns and other nuts.
We're standing underneath a tree that's dropping acorns on us right now.
Oak trees are dropping across the state. Mark Vitage with the Iowa DNR says in eastern Iowa, it's the white oaks that have done pretty well.
Everyone I've talked to basically says that the crop this year is variable. Really good in some places, average in others. So I wouldn't call this an outstanding year, but anytime we get good acorns, that's good for wildlife.
Backyard wildlife are the main users of a crop like this. Though historically, early Iowans did eat acorns, their tannins don't make them a good fit for humans.
These are great for wildlife. The squirrels, the turkey, the deer. This is the kind of protein that they need to help them to get ready for winter.
While a heavy crop can be good for backyard visitors, it can also be a danger for some of the limbs.
I mean, I've heard a few folks with heavy crops have maybe had a little bit, and with the windstorm sometimes early on. But really the last week or two, there's been a lot of acorn drop, so I think a lot of that weight is starting to disappear.
But all those nuts aren't really a clue about the health of the trees.
Most of the trees in this area look pretty healthy. They've got a good seed crop, so it's not necessarily a concern that, hey, just because we have a good seed crop, those trees may be unhealthy. It means that they had good flower production in the spring, and those seeds were able to go all the way through maturity. It's been dry the last 3 to 4 years. This spring we had a little more moisture than that we've had the last couple years. So we are concerned overall that some of these drought conditions could have impacts on trees.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Frankfort, Michigan.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. We do have a little bit of scattered rain out across the western plains today, but a lot of the Midwest and Great Lakes looking pretty quiet for us. As we continue on into the day tomorrow, some of that rain does slowly start to work its way a little bit more to the east. Doesn't move much, though, for Thursday, but it will cool things down. Look at that, highs in the 60s there across the Dakotas. So get ready for some warm temperatures for most of the Midwest the next few days.
Well, a good Tuesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Uchan. Look at our forecast today across the region. It's starting off with 60s and 70s. Mostly a partly sunny day ahead. Notice highs 80s and 90s. We do see a few showers and thunderstorms bubbling up with a little daytime heating across the region. And more on Wednesday. It'll be a mostly to partly sunny day, typically hot as well, 80s and 90s. And again, you see a scattering of showers or thunderstorms as we work through the afternoon into the evening on your Wednesday.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. Warm and dry conditions are expected across the West Coast. Meanwhile, showers will start to shake out across the Rocky Mountain West, as well as cooler temperatures expected near Jackson, Wyoming, with highs only climbing to 67 degrees later this afternoon. In the middle 70s through Denver, a bit warmer towards San Diego, 86 degrees later this afternoon, with those highs climbing into the upper 80s for Portland and Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. That's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Can your morning cup of coffee predict the weather? A bit of weather folklore says yes, but meteorologist Teresa Carter takes a closer look.
The next time you pour your coffee, take a look at the bubbles. Bubbles in the center of the coffee cup have been known to indicate high pressure, which results in good, fair weather. Whereas when the bubbles move quickly to the outer edge of the cup, that might mean we are under an area of low pressure, which results in unsettled weather conditions like rain. Is this just weather folklore, or is there any truth to it? This is not very accurate. Many factors impact bubble formation, including the shape of the cup, coffee temperature, the type of coffee, and even how you stir your coffee. In short, there are too many variables and not enough valid proof to give this folklore much merit.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We will be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.